Let's save this. Head over to Rokfin. Save this. Live stream is saved. Waiting for this. All right, I think the feed is set up. All right, you ready to go? I'm going to push the go live button, and then we'll wait a minute for people to hop in.
Yes, sir.
All right, we should be live. Did you see the screenshot I got of you sleeping? It's so cute.
Oh, you prick. I see it now.
Such a classic. That is such a classic
That's gonna be everywhere.
mid-tournament week. That is such a classic, like trying to get a couple hours of sleep while you can in between rounds.
Yeah, I don't mind, but people are gonna take that and use it in 12, like 3 months from now. They're gonna make a meme out of it about like doing something stupid.
Yeah, because they're just gonna change like my thumbnail in the corner. They're gonna change it to just that. Okay.
I can't understand why people can't understand this.
Well, where do you want to start? Because there is. Hey, I'm tweeting out. Willie and I are live. Hop in. There is.
Are we live right now?
We're live, but I just tweeted out the link, so it's gonna be a minute till people come in. Make sure you retweet it. I just tweeted out.
Yeah, I'll tweet it.
I'm just watching all these people. My tweets have made it to India, as have some of yours. If Burrows wasn't loved by India, he sure is after today.
Burrows?
Yeah, because he tweeted. He's on our side. Give her the silver. And he tweeted out, give Vinesh silver, and it's already at 1.5 million views. 11,000 retweets.
Oh, come on. I said it first, probably.
You did say it first. Hypothetically, do you guys know if Micic could compete at non-Olympics in October?
Where are we live at? I want to retweet it. I want to tweet
We're
it.
on Rokfin. Go to my Twitter. Listen, Micic didn't actually compete in these Olympics, so I think he's allowed, if he wanted to compete at 61, to hypothetically compete. Yeah. There was some stalemates needs to cover it. There was some back and forth, Willie. I don't know if you saw it yesterday. Some banter between Michigan and I think somebody in Illinois, back and forth about Micic and tell the truth and wait. But yeah, I do think we could see him at non-Olympic Worlds. If you compete at the Olympics, I believe you cannot go to the non-Olympic World Championships.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's like the last thing on my mind right now.
But somebody just asked, Willie. The people asked.
Oh, somebody asked. All right. Yeah, okay. Micic at 61.
All right. Where do we start?
I mean, I think we start with Vinesh, right?
Yeah, I think so. So if anybody missed it, obviously, she had one of the biggest upsets in Olympic wrestling history. Takes out 5-time world and Olympic champ Susaki from Japan yesterday, who was 82-0. Has wrestled awesome all day. And then this morning it came out that she did not make weight. And she is no longer going to have a silver medal. And Twitter is in an uproar. And, I think...
Well, okay. First things first, let's start right here. It is a rarity that anybody misses weight on day 2 at a Worlds or an Olympics. And it's virtually unheard of on the front side. Okay? Mess with the weigh-ins. Mess with everything. And we said it 5 days ago in a preview show. The scale to the first whistle is over double the time allowed. It's over double the time allowed. In no other tournament that UWW has, in no other tournament on earth, on day 1, is the start 4.5 hours from weigh-ins. Okay? And you might be saying, well, 4.5 hours, 2 hours, what did it matter? Well, Vinesh had 2+ hours extra to rehydrate before her match with Yui Sasaki. Okay? She stung her at the buzzer. Does Vinesh, who 2 hours less hydrated, 2.5 hours less heavy, have the energy to do that? The first things first, the first thing to discuss about here is the weigh-in procedures probably affected the outcome of match 1.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're untangling the rest of the mess. Vinesh goes on to win 2 more. She doesn't make weight this morning. And what's the solution? Well, the solution in every tournament on planet Earth is that the person in the finals receives a forfeit. Let's say it's NCAAs. The person in the quarterfinals receives a forfeit, right? They don't wrestle some mini bracket. They don't advance somebody that lost and move up. This happens in no other tournament. Now, I understand that UWW wants to save face with the IOC, and when the IOC comes in and says, why wasn't there a medal match? Why wasn't the gold medal final staged? And UWW wants to circumvent that or prevent that from happening.
Well, I was going to ask you that too. Your thoughts on how much of this is simply because it is live on Peacock and it is live on the big stage.
Totally. They wouldn't do this for a bronze match. They wouldn't do this for I don't imagine they would do this for a world championship final.
It sure doesn't seem like it. And that was part of my, I tweeted out boo to UWW, and John Kozak was asking what specifically I was booing about. And I said, it just doesn't sit right that a girl who got teched 10-0 is moving on. And guess what? You now just gave her, at minimum, a silver medal, and she was it's crazy. She had to go compete just for a chance to win bronze, and now you're giving her at minimum a silver medal.
And if the logic of repechage is whoever lost to the finalist should have a chance to wrestle back for third, right? So if you lose to a finalist, you get the opportunity to have a second chance. Why isn't the second chance afforded to everybody that lost to Vinesh on day one? If the rationale for repechage is to wrestle back for the next best thing, why is the rationale not to wrestle back for the opportunity to wrestle Sarah? This isn't. I mean, that logic should be there. I understand why it's not in a tournament with 256 entries, but this is a 16-man tournament. Okay? Guzman's going to wrestle Sarah, and Susaki's in bronze. Why not have one extra match and see if Susaki can get there? See if whoever's the best out of those three. What's the holdup with that? Now, the rationale I got, somebody tried to say to me, well, that would be unfair to the finalist opponent because they'd have to wrestle an extra match. What? The finalist already lost. How about that? How about if Sarah would lose? Guzman would win the Olympics with a loss.
Yeah, and Kozak brought up John Smith losing in pool play when he won the Olympics in 74. And I'm like, that's completely different. Also, by the way, one of the reasons why I give Burroughs the edge in the GOAT conversation, Smith did take a loss at the Olympics, but it's completely different. And that's what I said, that if all of a sudden Guzman does beat Sarah this afternoon, you think Twitter's in an uproar now. Just wait. If something crazy happens, Sarah
Yeah.
teched her 10-0 last year
How
at Pan
about it?
Am's, and Sarah's
How
a big
about it?
favorite.
UWW's taken massive heat from rational thinkers like myself, but they're taking heat from India. If Sarah loses, USA and India are gonna lose their minds. So they think that they're right now they're covering up for one instance.
They're gambling on.
They could be opening up
Correct.
another instance, right? By the way, I don't care that John Smith. There's an asterisk there with the John Smith loss. You understand that, right?
I think so. That's why I give Burroughs the edge in the GOAT conversation.
No, there's an asterisk on the loss itself.
Oh, what do you mean?
John Smith knew he could lose. It didn't matter. John Smith, win or lose, was going to the finals because of the point
That's
system.
true.
John Smith knew he didn't have to win the match.
That's fair.
So why try?
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. Burroughs still my GOAT. So it's going to be interesting. You know, that match, Sarah and Guzman is going to be at around 3 or 4 Eastern, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be, you know, and I really hope Vinesh, however you say her name, I really hope above all she's okay, because I can't imagine the mental and physical stroll. There are reports that she's in the hospital. There are reports that they tried to cut her hair, draw blood, all these things allegedly to get her to weight. She was, 100 grams
Dude,
over
I
or
saw
something?
I saw that too. Try to draw blood, bro. Don't put that in text. Don't put that in writing. Don't shut up about that one.
I saw that and I'm like, those are some of the things maybe don't release publicly, but I get it.
Yeah.
Twitter would also be in an uproar, Joe, if Sarah had to wrestle Susaki after all that. 100%. 100%.
Oh yeah, right. If Vinesh beat Sasaki in semis, and Sasaki was now in the finals, you bet your ass the tune of the Americans would be totally different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see what unfolds with that. Any final notes on that before we go on to the next topic? Because we got a number of them.
No, I just don't understand. Well, number one, I was talking to Mike Malanconico this morning, and he's like, Willie, where in the rule book does it say that like the semifinal loser would advance? And I said, good question. And he sent me the screenshot of the thing. At nowhere in that book does it say who the replacement is. At nowhere in the rule book that I've seen, and according to Mike Mal, it doesn't exist. Does it say what those procedures are? It just says it doesn't say anything about that. It doesn't say anything about that Sarah would wrestle somebody. All it says is that the person that missed weight drops to the last, which is stupid of itself. But that's all it says. So find me where these rules exist.
I do agree, by the way. Brian just commented, nobody's talking about Sarah. She's right there to be the rightful Olympic champ. I agree. Sarah has looked absolutely awesome.
That's beside the point. It's beside the point that Sarah's a massive favorite and that she's probably going to win. It's the procedure and the precedent that it sets. Right?
I do think after the match, there's going to be a lot more Sarah talk, regardless of who the final opponent is. It's just, you didn't see a heck of a lot of conversation about Amit Elor yesterday before she did what she did. And then all night long, you know, we all talked about it, which I think she is just absolutely incredible.
Amit, she's incredible.
She's not even 21, and she has won every wrestling title you can win. Cadet World Champ, Junior World Champ, U23 World Champ, Pan Am Champ, Senior World Champ, Olympic Champ.
Mm-hmm. And she's an incredible combination of tactician and athleticism, in my opinion, intelligence, and so she's the full package. And sky's the limit for her. I mean, at such a young age, um, and she's done it young. She's done it up a weight, now back down, and I mean, you can make a case pound for pound already at 20 years old.
No, she has not lost in 5 years. She has not lost on the senior level. Snyder was 2 months older than her when he won the Olympics, so she is now the youngest American to ever win gold in wrestling. And she does not do a lot of interviews. I've asked her to come on the podcast before, and I'm hoping she comes on after the Olympics, but she doesn't do a lot of media. And she did a couple interviews yesterday with NBC with Flo. And if you hear her talk, like, she is set up and poised to be the face of women's wrestling for the next decade. Her mental maturity and intelligence and IQ, not just on the mat but off the mat, she's great. And I really think she's going to be a force. We saw this with Snyder, where you knew Snyder was a staple on the team, a face of the program. And I think that's what we have in her. I mean, and she made it look easy. She's just so dominant and so tactful in everything she does. It's crazy.
Yeah, she is. She's special and like you said, marketable. I'm sure that she'll have a lot of endorsement opportunities, and it's selfishly, it's good for wrestling to have such a great face and such a great voice. You know,
Not to mention the fact that she just won $280,000, earned every dang penny, and now that's sometimes we struggle keeping wrestlers in the sport because they want other financial opportunities. When you have a 20-year-old who now just made almost $300,000, that's awesome. When she knows she can make money, and like you said, the endorsement deals, she's already with Rudis. Hopefully, this helps them ante up the pot and give her even more money.
Well, I think there's not a whole heck of a lot of non-endemic money in wrestling. Sony's not probably going to reach out. I don't know. Ford is probably not going to reach out, right? But what there is, especially before next quad, and it's kind of stinks that it would have to wait so long. But she has enough endemic money, Rudis, apparel companies, some smaller things, Living the Dream Fund. There's enough of that she trains another quad, and before LA, especially that it's in LA,
Yeah,
she can get polo, she can get
100%.
Greek yogurt, right? She can get leading into LA if she's, and there's no reason why this can't be, if she's the same trajectory, and they see all the impressions that she got this go round as a rookie, she's set up nicely to get some endorsements for LA 28.
Absolutely. And, I think that there's a lot. It's great when it happens young. You look at somebody like Snyder who won young, and then that kind of, you don't have the liability you do when you're older if you win it at 28, 30, 32. Winning it so young, it's incredible. And, yeah, I'm pumped for her. Women's wrestling starting off so hot with gold medal. The next one, Sarah's in the finals. Dom Parrish got pinned this morning by the two-time world champ from Japan, who's likely going to make the finals. So Dom should have a nice shot in repechage to win a bronze medal.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Just the sheer fact that, and this is not complaining. This is not claiming some kind of conspiracy thing, because I don't think it's a conspiracy. I don't think there's any shenanigans going on, but just that the United States drew. We've had 7 people go, and 5 of them drew the reigning world champion. Guaranteed, without a doubt, 100%. It's never happened in the history of wrestling before.
Well, and then today, Aaron Brooks draws the number 1 seed tomorrow, which I like his draw. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. I like his draw, but it is funny that he draws, again, the number 1 seed.
Yeah, so we had 7 people go. 5 of them drew the reigning world champ. Another one, a sixth one, Peyton Jacobson drew a guy that won like cadets, juniors, U23s. And then we had a number one seed. We had Aaron Brooks draw a number one seed. So the draws have been really weird. Really weird. Now, people can say, and they rightfully say, listen, the procedures are in place. You know how to get your seed. That's true. I'm just talking about how crazy it is. How crazy it is to keep hitting, to have our unseeded guys just keep hitting them. And, and especially in a case like Amit, she was a reigning world champ too, right? Yeah. So she did do her job. She just did it at a different way. And I think, I've been highly praiseworthy of UWW for the changes they made in the seeding. I think they're really good. I think they can keep tweaking it, and they have kept making gradual improvements to the point system and how you get points and how much they're worth. And they expanded to 8. And I think maybe they look at some certain tweaks and say, listen, you win a non-Olympic weight, you get half the points or something, right? Like maybe Amit could have got half the points from winning the World Championships last year at a non-Olympic weight, so that she at least gets the 5 instead of the 1, or unseeded. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, these wrestlers aren't dumb who know that if they do go and earn points and they do go to these ranking series events, which, people were asking me yesterday why I think some of them don't go. For one thing, among other reasons, every ranking series is in Belarus. It's in Budapest. It's not but listen, but that factors in when you're talking about guys like Dake and Taylor and older guys who don't want to travel overseas that much. I think it factors in. I think it factors in.
I think it factors in.
Correct. I'm not saying that's why. I think it factors in.
It might factor in. Yeah, listen, if there's a rankings tournament down the road in Baltimore, and they can just drive down there and get a ranking tournament in, yeah, of course, that's much easier than flying to Minsk. But come on, bro.
No, I think that factors in.
It factors in. But it factors in. But
well, here's what I was going with
those guys have one job. They have one job. They wrestle about 8 matches a year.
Listen,
I don't want to hear that.
Well, listen, I think if you have to.
Excuse. Now, the valid excuse is they don't care, and that's fine. And there's people that are saying that. There's people that are saying, well, obviously they don't care, so why do you care? It's not that I don't care. It's a talking point, right? We just happen to grab 6 world champs in round 1. But I will say this. Maybe it's not about if Zane Rutherford cares. Maybe it's not about if Amit Elor cares where they're seated. Maybe it's not about if Aaron Brooks gives a crap that he's seated, right? What about the product? What about we don't want Sedgelayev and Snyder first round? We don't want Tassoon reigning world champ against Amit first round. That would be a nice semi, a nice final, right? So presentation.
Well, and so where I was going with it, I was just saying that the fact that it's in Croatia, Budapest, these things don't help. But what I was saying is some of these guys don't care because they know even if they go and get points, it doesn't matter because they could draw somebody who doesn't care, who might be one of the best guys anyway. So what does it matter? If you have half the field that cares and half the field that doesn't, it really doesn't make a difference anyways.
Correct. However, I will say again, maybe it's not about if the wrestlers care. Maybe I don't care that the wrestlers don't care. Maybe the presentation of the World Championships and the Olympics should be enough for the seeding process to quote unquote get it right or get it close to right. And it's not UWW's fault. They put in a system. The wrestlers care or don't care. They found that out.
Mm-hmm.
But virtually none of these guys go through a quad without competing, right?
Mm-hmm.
None of them go through a quad without competing. So if
Lopez,
I were in charge,
Lopez.
yeah, I mean, listen, there's nothing you can do about that. Most of them do. Mihan's also the oldest wrestler on the planet. What I would do if I was in charge is develop some sort of system that takes into account the whole quad, right? If I don't know, Sargush takes silver this year, if he takes silver in 2022 and is injured in 2023, he at least has a little bit of points in 2024, right? I mean, something to account for the whole quad. And something to account for even non-Olympic weights. I would make it more robust. And the sidebar of that is that people will follow that for the whole quad. It does nothing but add to the context of a whole cycle.
Yep. No, for sure. Either way, I think too, when I understand the logic for the draws. Like, you got to beat everybody in the bracket, no matter what. I agree with you, though. I like when you have matches that should happen in the tournament from an anticipation and building standpoint. When you have a final in the first round and this and that, like, it's great. Like, I love that Yazdani and Brooks are on separate sides of the bracket. I love that. That's a better product. Let's build to that. You're going to get more eyeballs. It's a great product,
Right? I mean, listen, and seeding sometimes, I'm all about seeding. I'm all about getting it right. If you're going to seed the tournament, do it correctly. You want to have the premier matchups at the end. Now, you're going to get some weird ones. You're always going to get some weird ones. You're going to get Mihan, who hasn't wrestled in a quad, and he's impossible to seed.
Sure. Yep, I agree.
But look, Mihan's final was in round 2 at 4:00 in the morning, right? Yep. That was the final. That was the real final. So, you lose a little bit. It's fun to have the first round matchups. It's fun to have big first round matchups here and there. And it adds a little flavor to it, and it gives you a reason to watch the early rounds, some casuals. But ultimately, you want Yazdani Brooks in the finals.
Yeah. All right, speaking of Yazdani Brooks, let's talk about this bracket. Bracket came out. Let me see if I can pull it up on the screen here. We'll talk 86 first because we were just talking about that. Let's make this much smaller. All right, for those watching, this should be on the screen. I don't know if Willie can see it, but it's on the screen. I've got Brooks, Amin, and Ramos highlighted. Those are Americans competing. What were your thoughts taking a look at this bracket?
Well, I have not looked at this bracket yet. This is the first time I'm looking at it.
Perfect. We'll look at it.
Dalit Bekoff and Brooks, that's okay. He's also up top. Shapayev is the 4. That's fine. Man, I love it. I love it for Brooks.
I think it's great. I like that.
I wish Cam Kralidze. Other than saying I wish Brooks had an easier match to blow out his lungs, to get his feet under him, to get the Olympic jitters out, to just get some rust off. I would rather him have somebody else, but otherwise, that's a dream draw.
Yeah, and the Kazakhstan that Brooks drew, Taylor was up 7-0 last year on him and pinned him, and he teched him 12-0 at Worlds the year before. Last year, he beat him in the semis. The year before that, I think it was quarters. And
he is...
he's tough.
He is like next tier, right?
Yes.
He's really good, but he's
Yep.
not upper. He's not Taylor Yazdani Brooks, right? So
Correct.
he's very good. And I say dream draw, and probably sounds silly. Like, how can the number one seed be a dream draw? Um, like I said, there's only 16 guys. You're gonna try to avoid one of the top seeds early. It's about as good as you get. That half of the brackets he
And
should run through.
and you have Amin Karigliev and Yazdani all in the bottom, which is great because you have Amin who's felt him before, beat him before in folk style down there. You've got Yazdani, obviously one of the greatest in the world, and so I like it for Brooks. I think it's a great draw. Can Miles take out Yazdani? I don't think so. I think Yazdani is the only guy who's beaten him in the last however many years is David Taylor. And, until we see somebody else beat Yazdani, I think Brooks can because Brooks beat Taylor and the only one to beat Taylor in a number of years. Apart from that, I think Yazdani's the favorite. I mean, Miles is right there. He's got world.
Well, I mean, on paper, Yazdani's the favorite. Over Miles. But we say all the time, people change in a year, and Yazdani's been at this for a long, long time. Now he's still not that old. He's kind of Kyle Snyder-esque. He's still not that old, but there's miles on him. There's a lot of miles on him. So you can change in a year-to-year thing. And if Miles beat Chirati, I wouldn't I wouldn't be like, holy crap. Well, I would say holy crap because I'd be happy for Miles, but it wouldn't be the most shocking thing.
No,
now,
and I mean, if
I'm
you look at
Yazdani.
if you look at the betting lines, it kind of paints the picture. Yazdani's minus 180 and Brooks is plus 115, and then everybody else. And then so the Kazakhstan that Brooks drew is plus 1200, Miles is plus 2500.
That's ridiculous.
And Krigley was plus 2500.
I mean, he has to beat two, but geez, 25. He's beaten Brooks before in his life.
Maybe sprinkle a little something. But that shows you where the sports books, where the bettors, where people are putting Brooks and Yazdani in regards to the rest of the bracket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yazdani did look great at the last, and I forgot where it was. Maybe it was a ranking series or something. He looks good. So we'll see how he looks, but I'm still going Brooks. I just made my wager. I got Brooks winning the whole thing. I put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things about Yazdani is that there's only been one human being that's able to match his pace.
Well, and that's what people are saying. So he wrestled in Budapest at the ranking series back in June, and he had a 13-2 tech over Ethan Ramos, and then he beat the Japanese kid that's very good that Brooks is likely going to have in the quarters. He beat him 12-2, and then he beat Brooks' opening opponent 10-0, and then he beat Hidley 12-2. And Hidley looked great. His pace looked great. And people said leading into the finals, does Hidley have a chance? And then Yazdani comes out and just closes it 12-2. So Yazdani is looking, like Yazdani. I mean, that's a good.
I forgot about that Hidley match. Yeah, as long as if Yazdani's pace is there, he's going to be his old self, and I guess it appears. I forgot about the rankings tournament. So as long as his pace is there, he's going to be the same Yazdani.
Yeah, and both Brooks. This is also a good point. Both Brooks round of 16 matchup with Kazakhstan and the quarterfinal match with Japan. Yazdani both teched both those kids. So, we can kind of see where Brooks is in relation to Yazdani. If you keep in the back of your head, Yazdani just teched both these guys in June. Yeah. So, we'll see. All right, let's pull up.
I hope. Yeah, I can't wait. I hope Miles makes it to Yazdani. I really want to see that match.
Yep, agreed. All right, let's pull up 57 kilos.
Let's pull up 57. Spencer Lee, Roman Bravo Young. This is my
Oh,
first time looking at this as well. But you did tell me. Ooh, the Gooch versus Sarlacc first round. Um,
Sarlacc, by the way, who's in only because Micic is out.
Micic, that's right. Now listen. Wow, both RBY got Tunyon first round.
Yep.
That's tricky. RBY's draw is terrible. I mean, I think he's better than these guys, but it's not. It's a ridiculous path. He's going to have Tunyon, and then whoever winner he gets out of Uzbekistan and Azerbaijan is not bad. And then he would have Spencer. That's a really tough
Well,
road.
yeah, or Zhao. I mean, Zhao is pretty tough too. Who Spencer drew. Spencer and Zhao just wrestled to a 10-9 match at the Olympic Games qualifier. So that's
so to obviously we're Americans and we're going to be highly optimistic of our guys, and we want to say Spencer, no problem. The real assessment here is that's not a good opening bout. That's not a good draw for Spencer for a couple reasons. You don't want the best draw for you is probably not a guy that you wrestled 10-9. Right? Spencer makes everybody look like junior high kids. Everybody. So the guy that you want is not the guy you beat 10-9. Number one. Number two, what did we say? What did we say in the preview show? One of the best things that Spencer has on his side is nobody's felt him before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a learning curve in and of itself. Anybody that ever wrestles Spencer for the first time, they're like, wow, what is this? He feels different, right? This Zoo, he's felt him before. Now, I still think Spencer wins. Don't get it twisted. But it's really interesting that that's the matchup.
So let me ask you this.
If you missed the matchup before, if you missed this matchup the first go-round, Spencer gets a takedown. Zoo gets like a 4-pointer. Then he gets a bunch more points. He's up significantly. Spencer gets a leg lace. And Spencer ends up leading at the break pretty decently. I don't know, by like 4 or 5 points. But what you could see in the match, you could even see in the first period, you're like, all right, this kid is going to probably shut it down and wait for a spot. So second period, nothing happened. This kid didn't start going until about 40 seconds left in the bout, but he kept getting in and he kept getting ones, right? Isn't that how it went?
I think so, yeah.
It was dicey. It was a little dicey.
When we did our preview show, Doug Jacob said, terrible take, that's the best quarter to be in by far. I don't remember what he's talking about, which one. When we did our preview show, so one thing obviously we got to talk about with this is Micic is out. And, we were talking a lot about the different betting lines. And when this opened, Micic was a 5-1 favorite to win, and Lee was a 5-1 underdog. And now Spencer Lee is almost a 4-1 favorite to win. He's minus 375, minus 250, depending on what sports books you look at. But crazy, Micic being out, he says it was a knee injury, and he's not competing. Does that change how you view this bracket?
Honestly, I was trying to think when it was announced that Micic was out. I tried to think back on what I said on the preview show, and what I sort of remember is that I didn't say much about Micic, and I didn't give I don't know. I was dubious of him making weight. I thought he was going to struggle with weight. I coming into the tournament, I didn't give him a whole heck of a lot. Like, I thought he would take bronze. I thought he'd be in repechage. Um, I thought he would struggle with weight, and that was my thing. I knew he was big. Um, I mean, the guy's a monster. People talk about RBY. People talk about RBY. Oh my God, he's making 57. Stevan wrestled 41. Stefan's humongous. Okay, so I thought he was going to struggle with weight, and so that's why I didn't talk too much about him. So does him being out affect the bracket? Absolutely. He's he's big, he's technical, he's savvy, he's experienced, he's a freaking world champ. 100%. But um I really thought it came down to uh a Baccaroff who he's beaten. And you guys are gonna say, well, Willie, how can you write off Micic when he's already beaten these guys? I know, but getting back down to weight was going to be a significant thing for him. And so I thought the players were RBY, Spencer, Baccaroff, and Higuchi. I thought that Micic would be third or fifth. Okay, so does that affect the bracket? Yes, absolutely. And could he have beaten one of those guys? Yes, but I wasn't picking it.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun. It goes down tomorrow at 5 a.m. Eastern.
I think Doug Jacobs is talking about me when he says laugh out loud. That's the best quarter to be in. Um, yeah, yeah. When we're talking about RBY,
He's saying the
fine.
quarter that Lee is in is the easiest of the bracket.
Oh, it is. It is by far. That's what he's saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's easy. I mean, not easy. That's a good spot. Listen, there's 16 guys. Most of them is placed in the world. There's no good spot to be, really. I mean, there are, but there isn't. Yeah, like you can be in a good spot round one and round two. You're gonna hit somebody.
Yeah, it's a lot different than
I'm just saying
Worlds.
that. I'm just saying that RBY's path is you got a dude, you got a dude, you got a dude every step of the way, right?
Yeah. Helen's draw came out too, by the way. She's got Anshu of India, who's a 2022 world silver medalist. So all three of them go tomorrow at 5 a.m. I'm pumped. I'm real pumped. And we got Hildebrandt going for gold this afternoon, which we talked about at length.
This is a really good weight.
Which one?
Helen's.
Yeah.
Man, her topside's much better though. Much better. Decoroya is going to make a final probably. Or Nachita. Yeah, we were talking about how much love or how much energy women's wrestling has gotten over the past couple days, and I really think they did a good job. I think women being first was big because everybody on the planet Earth came in with this wrestling Paris Olympics. It's the pinnacle of our sport, and they started with women and Mihan, right, which gave you this great initial presence, and I think it gave the women their shine, it gave a legend his shine, and now it's going to carry through because now we're getting to a day where you have especially in America, freestyles here, so you're keeping that energy rolling, you're not like falling asleep. It's our preferred style, and Helen, right? So now we got through the women, which if we're not pooped, we weren't pooped by the time we got to the women, right? And the time we got to Greco. So we had this energy, and now we're seeing our freestylers and superstar Helen Morales.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, I think that's most of my notes. Do you have anything else from the first couple of days? Greco went 0-5. That's kind of beating a dead horse, talking about Greco needing revival in America.
Here's my thing. Did we score a point?
I think Rouse scored 3 or 4, yeah.
In wrestlebacks.
Yeah, in repechage. I think everybody else lost either to 0 or to 1.
My thing is, I love those guys, man. I love our Greco guys. There's nobody freaking tougher on the planet than those Greco guys. But when you're not scoring points, something got to change. I mean, we're not sniffing scores. We're just not competitive, man. And that's a systematic thing.
Yeah, it's not a dig at the wrestlers competing. No, hats off to those guys. They're Olympians. They're tough as nails. It's the system. It's the system that our Greco guys go through. And, I had said I think that as a country, we grow up, so much of us, as folk style fans and freestyle fans. Folk style because you do it. You wrestle at young age, high school, middle school, college. You get used to that style of wrestling. Leg takedowns. I can't stand watching Greco because every time I'm like, take a shot. Oh, you can't. You know what I mean? It's like, so I think part of it is our development system. I also think there's not a lot of fandom for it, which then creates the desire to compete, and you get a bigger talent pool like you're seeing with women. As the women have more and more success, you get more and more girls that want to go out and be like Amit, be like Helen, be like Adeline, and that creates a bigger talent pool. So I do think it's both America doesn't have a big fandom for Greco, which I think restricts how much comes into this side of the sport. And then once we do get guys in Greco, we definitely don't have the best developmental system for them.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't like that's what's the word? It's demonstrably true, right? It's true that our better folk stylers seem to go freestyle, right? That's demonstrably true. However, I don't buy the Greco doesn't get the best athlete type thing. Here's why. There's America got athletes in spades. We have no shortage of athletes. Number one, we have more people than anybody, basically. And number two, we have an economy that's lets our youth do things at their leisure, right? They're not struggling to find bread. And we also have the best infrastructure as far as like every freaking high school has wrestling mats. There's weight rooms everywhere. You can train. There's a wrestling club every 50 miles. So I just think frankly, I think it's coaching. I think we need to get the right coaching.
Well, that's definitely a huge part of it. There's no doubt about it.
The right system into place. It's like U.S. soccer. We suck. We suck at U.S. soccer. U.S. soccer sucks. How can we be a nation of this many people with this much money, with this many opportunities, with this many facilities, and suck? There's no rationale for it. We suck.
The men suck. The women don't suck.
Men suck.
The women's soccer program is a lot better than the men's.
There's no earthly reason why the men's is as bad. Men's soccer is as bad as it is.
This is going to be such a nice timestamp when we talk about all the topics in the video. And it's like, USA men's soccer sucks.
Right? I can't figure it out. We'll lose to like a freaking island nation the size of a Honda Civic. And we're America? Stop. These dudes are kicking around coconuts, and we have every luxury in the world and can't figure it out.
By the way, you got
That's another thing. Let me say something. That's another thing. I was telling my stepdaughter last night, we were talking, she doesn't know nothing about wrestling, but I was telling her about Mihan and Cuba and their facilities and his legacy and just isn't his story just like incredible? You ever see pictures of their facilities? Didn't
I can't
stop them.
wait. ESPN needs to do a 30 for 30 on that man.
Oh, needs to bad. It's such a great story from so many angles. I mean, number one, he's the freaking goat. He's a freaking goat. Number one. Number two, humble beginnings. Humble situation, and how inspiring would that be?
By the way, Lopez is the GOAT. I mean, he's been in 6 Olympics. He took 5th his first one. Then he won 5 straight Olympic gold medals. And at 41 years old, it was so funny yesterday too, because I think you're giving UWW too much credit that they set it up like this. I think it just so happened that Lopez entered the tournament, that Amit was one of the first girls to go. I think it just so happened to play out like that. But it was so funny seeing Lopez, 41-year-old, go win his 5th gold medal, oldest to ever win it, and then the youngest American to ever win it next. A 41-year-old and a 20-year-old back-to-back Olympic gold medals in wrestling. Crazy.
Yeah, how about that? And the old adage that wrestling's for everybody, right? You have a giant Greco guy from a nation that's largely ostracized, and you have a very young girl from one of the best nations in the world. And it's it is true about wrestling, man. It's for everybody. It's the only sport where you don't have to be 6'7". You don't have to run 4.5 40. You can figure it out.
Yeah. I will say, too, who just commented it? Brian was commenting Kuhn's draw was brutal. Absolute brutal draw. Kuhn's draw did him no favor, drawing the reigning world champ from Iran, who beat him in, I think, a close match. If I remember correctly, it was only like 3-1 or something. And then he lost to Lopez, a 5-time gold medalist, which knocked out the Iranian, which knocked out Kuhn from repechage. So that was definitely a brutal draw. I think Kuhn's one of the toughest Greco athletes that we've had. And
that's my boy Ian McCutcheon in the chat. Well, is American tennis bad? I mean,
because
that's another one.
The stars all seem like they're European, overseas. Yeah, I mean, we haven't had that much success in American tennis, I don't believe.
Tennis is I don't know why, but I like watching women's tennis more than I like watching men's. It's odd. I don't know. I feel like women have better rallies. Like men, it's like boom, boom, done, point.
Funny enough, we do have great women tennis. Serena Williams, GOAT.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a tennis aficionado, but.
So you're not the tennis brain. Tennis brain shirts are not coming soon.
All right, man. Let's buckle up. Let's dial in.
All right, that's today's show. What do you want? You want to do one tomorrow around this time? We'll do one.
Absolutely.
So tomorrow, as long as Willie can wake up, we will do.
I'll be awake.
We'll recap who's going tomorrow. Brooks, Spencer, Roman, Helen. We'll recap that and look at Friday's draws, which let me see who's competing Friday. It's going to be Dake, Kayla Miracle, and Mason Paris. And then Saturday, Kennedy, Zane, and Snyderman close us out. So, and we'll probably go live also tomorrow afternoon/night. So,
yeah, for sure. Yep.
All right, that's the show. We'll catch y'all later.